How are you folks? My name is Michael Lynch, and it's my pleasure and my privilege to introduce my guest today, Ms. Lee Morse-Turtle.
Thank you, Mike.
How are you today, Lee?
I'm doing great.
Lee, we're here today to talk about a very timely subject, and it's the drug Trasylol. Trasylol has recently been in the news due to an advisory board committee which recently met on September 21st, 2006. Could you tell our viewers about that advisory board committee?
Absolutely. This September 21st advisory committee meeting was prompted by studies that were published in January of 2006. These studies showed a link between Trasylol, which is a drug that's used in CABG procedures. CABG procedures are coronary artery bypass grafting surgery. This drug is used to control bleeding in these procedures. These studies came out in January of 2006 that showed a link between an increase in the chance of heart attack, stroke, and renal failure when Trasylol is used in these surgeries.
How many surgeries a year is Trasylol used in?
1.5 million cardiac surgeries are performed a year, and the estimate is at least 1 million of those Trasylol is used in.
And am I also correct that my understanding is that Trasylol isn't the only drug on the market that can be used for this type of surgery, and it's, from my understanding, it's also used to control bleeding and the need for blood transfusions during that procedure?
This is true. You're correct on all points.
Now, are there some reasonable alternatives to Trasylol?
There are two alternatives to Trasylol, both of which have been proven to be safer and are much less expensive. One dose of Trasylol is $1,400.
Now, let me give the viewers some background as to what an advisory board committee is with the FDA. It's an issue close to my heart. Anyone who has watched this show knows that I often talk about the need to revamp the FDA, to give some teeth to the FDA, as I like to describe. These advisory board committees are made up by independent consultants, physicians, epidemiologists. However, upwards of at least 30% of these individuals have financial conflicts of interest, in so much that they are either consultants to the pharmaceutical industry, or are outright paid by the pharmaceutical industry to run testing, or own the stock in the pharmaceutical company in which they are reviewing. Unfortunately, what we have here is a system where it appears the very people that are going to review the safety of Trasylol may have conflicts of interest by either owning the stock or working for what, in this circumstances, I believe is the Bayer Corporation.
This situation is a classic example of the FDA, and as you said, the FDA not having any teeth, not having any ability to enforce, to make informed decisions. This was a situation where the September 21st Advisory Committee meeting that you just spoke about, it was called to review the safety of Trasylol. After the meeting, at the conclusion of the meeting, the vote was 18-0 that the Trasylol label would not be changed, that it was perfectly fine as is. 6 days later, the FDA got a phone call from essentially a whistleblower asking them, why was my study that I performed on behalf of Bayer not looked at when you were making this decision? The FDA had no idea what he was talking about. Bayer backed a study, conducted a study. They knew that the results were in and conclusive, and that the results pointed to the fact that Trasylol was causing renal failure, increased risk of heart attack, and increased risk of stroke, and they failed to disclose it to the FDA. So the only reason the FDA found out about this study was because of a whistleblower. It had nothing to do with the FDA having any teeth, being able to do anything about it, and it certainly had nothing to do with Bayer actually stepping up and saying, we failed to disclose something.
Now, Lee, I'm so happy you came on this morning. The reason being is that many times when I do get on my pedestal and talk about the FDA, many folks ask me for specific examples. Here is a timely, specific example. What we have here, from what you told me, is a circumstance where the Bayer Corporation did not disclose a study which they had performed. It was a massive study, 64,000 patients. It was only brought to the attention to the FDA by a whistleblower, by an outside consultant who, from what I understand, was bothered by the fact that his study was not disclosed to the FDA?
Yes, that's the reason why he called the FDA.
Well, this is a clear circumstance, and it's a prime example of the inherent flaws within our FDA system. Lee, what can folks do to protect themselves against a Trasylol or something in the future along the same lines? Because from what I understand here, what we have here is very, very serious injuries. This is death, this is stroke, This is dialysis. These are life-threatening conditions, and it's what we have here is a study that wasn't disclosed to the FDA, which is supposed to be the watchdog organization.
Unfortunately, there's only so much that we as individuals can do because, like we said, the FDA itself didn't know about this information. When pharmaceutical companies are hiding information or failing to disclose information from the FDA, it's a scary situation. So as individuals, we need to vote for representatives who want change in the FDA, who want to protect us as consumers. This is not little stuff we're talking about. This is our health. This is our welfare. And specifically with Trasylol, this is a drug that patients aren't given a choice on. This is a drug that you are given in surgery. You don't know that you're given it. So people need to get out there and they need to vote for representatives that are going to protect their health and their welfare.
Well, Lee, to sum up, I hope the viewers take your advice. Be your own advocate for public safety. Be your own advocate for changes in the FDA. Use the power of your vote. Talk to your congressman. Talk to your candidates. Find out which individuals stand for meaningful change within the FDA and vote accordingly. Lee, thanks for showing up today.
Thank you, Mike.